linebackers now. He's dancing his way for the touchdown.
You are now listening to Talk That Sports. My name is Adam, and I will be your host. Tune in for all the amazing episodes that are to come, as well as special appearances. You never know who's going to be on the show. Welcome back, sports fans, to another electrifying episode of the Talk That Sports podcast, where we don't just talk sports, we live and breathe it. Now, if you've been tuning in, you already know what's up with this podcast. It just isn't about the game. It's also about the passion and the legacy and the spirit behind it all. Now, today, we got a special guest, as this is another gentleman from the UW Husky team that I got the pleasure of watching and just, enjoy this game. But he did spend more time, turning it up on the field. But he also was, he took his talents over to the NFL as well. Today I have Keishawn Bierria. How you doing today, boss?
Man, all good, man. I'm blessed, man. Blessed, living a good life.
Definitely. I'm catching you after a workout here. So I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I do, I just want to chat with you a little bit. And get my listeners, from the young guys that are getting ready to join the team over at UW, to, even some of the, folks that are just listening in because they love the game of football.
So no worries, man. I'm happy to be here, man, and be able to spread my knowledge, man. It's a blessing.
For sure. Now, when we were talking, you shared with me a little bit of what you're doing, but if you don't mind sharing with my viewers and even Husky fans that are familiar with you, what are you up to these days since you've been done with, college and the NFL?
Well, man, I guess I've been all over the place. I've been out of the country, in the country, East Coast to the West. But my last season was in 2019 with the Cardinals. I was with Buda Baker, Kyler Murray first rookie season, and I had 2 games over there. COVID hit. I was one of those guys who decided not to get vaccinated, and man, it kind of just like blackballed me, man. They're like, "Who are you to say who are you to stand up for yourself, type of thing." So they kind of told me I wasn't gonna get no more workouts after that if I wasn't gonna just take the jab, and I decided to stand on my morals, man. I decided to stand on what I believed in. And ultimately, it cost me a lot of, precious time in the league. I know a lot of guys were getting ostracized for it, like Kyrie and everything. But, man, it's just a different time, bro. Like, now that I stood on it, a few years later, it's coming out that, I was right. A lot of people that took my same stance was right. I never sought no legal action or anything like that because, everything works behind closed doors. But, I'm just blessed to still have so many friends still in the league thriving, right? Being able to take care of their family. So since 2020, man, it took me a little bit of everywhere, man. I sat for 2 years. I sat 2020 because, I thought I was like, all right, this ain't going to stick. I'll be able to get a workout. Like I go from active to not on the team at all. Like, no workout. So sat for 2020, ended up going to 2021. I ended up going to Canada, Saskatchewan, beat out some guys for the starting job, started the whole year at middle linebacker. Our team was atrocious. I don't want to speak on coaching or anything, but, Canadian ball, I'm going to just say that. And it was long-lived. Like, I played that entire season. I think I came second in tackles on the team. Next year came. They're like, contract, rookie contracts up there, you got to sign a 2 years. So they fired the entire staff, organization, really. Second organization came in, and I was like, hey, like, it's hard being in 2 places at one time, having family back home I got to take care of, and, living and, making, living off what I'm earning up in Canada. So I opted to, get paid a little more and, cut immediately. It was like, ain't no way you think you're about to get, an extra 5,000 Canadian to help you pay your bills. So I got the boot from them, man. Like, it was crazy. Like, I went from starting to getting the boot. The whole league was put on notice. I was fighting the jab up there. They're like, yo, you got to get vaccinated. You're going to end up on a respiratory machine, about to die. And then it was like all types of scare tactics. And I'm just like, show me one athlete that got COVID and is hospitalized for it. And they couldn't. They had no facts. And I was just like, I'm a guy that sticks to the facts, bro. You know, every time a team lines up in 11 personnel, you know, and the tight ends to the field, they're going to run power. And for a lot of times, you know, they lined up in 11 personnel. That tight end was not to the field, and they wasn't running power. So I'm like, I'm not taking a bluff, bro. I'm gonna wait for this play action. So I got released from that team. The whole league was put on notice. Like, how did this dude get cut? Is he hurt? Is he not healthy? Is he a locker room politic? And, you know, a lot of times it might seem like that because I stood on my beliefs and I spoke up for myself. So, yeah, I was. I was one of those guys that, you know, I got teammates coming in like, hey, you need to get vaccinated. We need you to play this week. And I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm sticking something in my body that is not proven to help. You know, just looking back at history, like, do people even read anymore? Like, come on, man. Like, you know, I'm an avid reader, and you know, I believe in the people around me. I believe in my team, and I got some influential, intellectual men around me. You know, and we stand on our morals. And there was I would have retired before I got vaccinated. You know, if it came down to it, and I ended up sitting halfway through that season. Got picked up by Saskatchewan. Didn't play there. Went to Montreal. Played 1 or 2 games there. I got activated for playoffs. Won a playoff game. Went to the second round of playoffs against Toronto. We ended up playing them 3 times in the last 3 weeks. It's crazy, but we lost to them in the second round, the semifinals, and they went on to win the Grey Cup. Next year, I hit the coach up like, yo, like I want to stay in Montreal. They're like, nah, we're cool. They ended up going back and winning the Grey Cup that year. So I ended up sitting that year, but you know, they had all the pieces and all they needed was a linebacker. But they ended up picking up one of my boys, Sankey, Darnell Sankey, out of I think he went to Portland State, I think. Good linebacker, man. Like that was the same guy that that year he won a UFL or XFL championship, and he won a Grey Cup in the same year. The only person to ever do that. Of course, it was the first year it
That's
happened,
crazy.
but crazy, man. So, you know, just looking around like the last few years, bro, I've been around some ballers. Some solid people. I got a lot to learn. I've been through a lot. So, you know, like right now, you're talking to a man who's definitely like finding himself, right? Really settling my feet down you know, in the soil and really like grounding myself because man, life will take you for a journey, especially like when you're not fully in control of your destiny, man. Like you got other people dictating things when you're not in rooms, and the only power they have is their word, right? You know, these dudes not in the gym, they're not on the field, they're not training in the summer. All they doing is pushing a pin, and they never put a helmet on. You know what I'm saying? Um, so that was kind of like my professional career right there. I got signed to a UFL team. I'm not sure which one I got signed to after the merger, and a week before camp, they released me, and it was like, hey, we just gonna draft some guys. But, you know, they end up, like, the coaches that brought me in actually got fired a week before the draft. The new staff came in, first guy they cut, called me, was like, hey, yeah, we're releasing you. And I was like, I can't show up in camp? You ain't gonna let me compete? You know what I'm saying? Like, I am 28, but honestly, I feel like I'm at the best, healthiest point in my life. Like, I work out avidly, I meditate avidly, I read avidly, you know, it's a lifestyle. You know, now I'm fully set in my ways. Like I'm looking at my friends. Like, and I was just visiting Shaq Thompson. Man, that dude just did 10 years. He's 10 years in the league right now.
Crazy to think about that, right?
Man, time flies. Time
It
flies,
does.
bro. You know, and you know, I'm grateful. Like, you know, whether I'm retired, it's my last time ever playing football, talking about doing an interview about football. I'm grateful, man. Like, I accomplished my dreams. You know, to get drafted. I won a Pac-12 championship. I'm a champion. You know, first college football playoffs. We didn't beat Bama, but you know, we took the trip. I'm proud of the legacy we left. Like, you know, I just wish it was more of like a connection with like the alumni up at UW and the players. You know, they only really show the love
Mhm.
to the guys that's still in the league, right? Like everybody else, it's like a little love here and there, but when you got people who come in, they don't really know the culture. They trying to establish their own culture. Like, you know, you only know what's it like to be a dog if you put that jersey on, right? Or if you like built it up from nothing. Like coaches like Peterson, you know, that dude, man, he set the standard. You
He
know,
sure did, man.
I feel like it was easy for like DeBauer and them to come in. I'm not discrediting him as a coach or nobody on that staff because I want to talk to him before the season. A couple years ago, I think it was 2 years ago. But you know, outstanding job recruiting and trusting the process and bringing guys in who want to compete. You know, it's a different game now. You know what I'm saying? Like guys coming out of high school, millionaires. It's beautiful to see, bro, because like you don't have to wait to get to the league and be poor and figure it out. You coming out of high school, you decent, bro. You know what I'm saying? You decent, you got
Mhm.
good grades, you got your head on your shoulders. It's good for people to invest in you, right? At the end of the day, we've always been businessmen since we was kids. Since we was kids, bro, people have been pointing at you like, oh, yeah, he going to the NFL. Like, you know what I'm saying? People are investing in your stock. You know,
See, and that's the crazy part too, because like for you, when you were in high school, you were going through like the recruiting process, right?
hmm Yep.
And that's one thing that you always pointed out was the grades, because like, you know, you could be great on the field, but when it comes to grades, schools really want to see that too. And that's kind of what solidified it with you and UW, right?
Well, yes, it did because my senior year and my junior year, I had straight A's. Um, but I don't think the grades were like really the determining factor in where I got to where I got to. Um, honestly, it was the grades really just came down to effort and being with the right teachers that motivated you, right? The curriculum they teach kids, unless you're a private school, you're learning nothing. Like you're better off being a YouTube scholar. You're gonna learn way more, easier lessons. I mean, like I'm looking at college courses now. The professor comes in and he's just throwing some AI in front of kids and having them teach. It's
It's
like,
crazy.
you know, having Siri as a professor, right? You know, it's not the same. Um, but I really think I got to where I got to 1,000%. I have to put it on like my grandmother and my ancestors, as well as like my community, right? I'm really big on like where I come from, and what the problem with people from my community, and a lot of people see it in the culture. A lot of people don't know where they come from, like their roots. Like you know, we talk about it starts with slavery, and it really doesn't. That's false. It's a false narrative. Just like you know the false narrative that we see every day when we wake up and turn on the news, right? Like there's always an agenda. But the thing with me, I always had a spiritual connection to my roots and where I came from and my community. My community has always kept me grounded. I have all brothers, so I'm raised around men by a woman, you know, and we come from a respectable household. I've always been respectful to the people around me. But having brothers, we just learned to not really take no shit from nobody, man. Like you can't let nobody step on you, bro, because once they get a little bit, they'll just keep going and keep going, and next thing you know, you just turn into a speed bump. You're not even there no more. And that's kind of like what the society and the world would do to you, especially like just living in America. Um, man, sorry, I got a lot to say, man. Not enough
Oh
time,
no,
but
no, man. Hey, this is
yeah,
it's your platform, man. If you
yeah,
even want more time, that's cool with me, man. I ain't doing nothing tonight. The show is all about just chatting, having a great conversation and things like that. So
for
feel
sure.
free, man. I know you have a big story to you, man,
Yeah,
and it's crazy. You have been through a lot, and you know you've dealt with a lot of adversity, and it still has carried over from like the league and stuff, like the COVID vaccinations and stuff. So man, feel free, you know, talk about it all. It's cool with me.
yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna just keep flowing then. Uh, so the biggest thing really is just honestly being sorry, man. These mosquitoes out here on
Oh, no,
me,
you're good,
but
man.
uh, the collective energy that I've always really been around. Like when I got to UW, you know, 75% of the team was from LA, California, right? So there's always been like a collective energy that I was always familiar with. High school, I'm around my friends now are my friends from high school, right? I meet a lot of people, but like I got a close group of friends from college. Maybe 3 or 4 guys I'll call. Azim is one, Shaq is one, Troy Williams is one, right?
Okay.
We have a crazy network I have a crazy network of teammates, but you know, my closest guys that are, going to call and check on me, I'm going to call and check on them consistently just to see where their headspace is at. That's really like what's really propelled me, but I was born with that, with brothers. I was raised on a block with 8 boys who were honestly 9 boys who were all 5 years apart from each other, from 5 years, 5 to 8 years between the youngest and the oldest on the block. So we having tackle football games, full court basketball pickup games in the middle of the street, since I was a child. So I was always raised around solid individuals. So anytime it came to like a collective group of men or whatever, we always knew how to be individualistic, how to be individual thinkers, how to be leaders, how to be good followers, because it takes it all um, to really make it somewhere. And, I'm at the point where it's like, now I'm back home, right? Like, I've been through relationships, been in and out of relationships, been traveling out and out of the country. But I really got to just accredit like where I got to really like my people, like, and not just like my parents, because I lost my parents early and I lost my mom a few years ago, but
Yeah.
um, just like my community, my people, like my friends' parents, who took me to probably more basketball games, football games than my parents, right? Um, not because they didn't want to, because society didn't allow it. Where healthcare was at when I was a kid was atrocious, like. I'm pretty sure that, if we take a good look at healthcare, a lot of people that aren't here will still be here. You know, if we didn't think about the money of it, but really thought about the people. Um, so yeah, now I'm at the point where I'm really trying to decide what career I want to go to next. I'm 28 years old. I'm healthy, mentally and physically and spiritually. So, you know, um, my mind, body, and soul is good, man. It's all in one. Now I'm just really trying to figure out what's the next step for me, right? And you asked me what am I doing now? So right now I'm working a remote job just to keep the finances steady, and I picked up a coaching job at a JC in East LA. It's called ELAC, East LA Community College, and I'm the co-defensive coordinator, linebacker coach, and strength and conditioning coach. So I was just like, hey, what's open? This is all open. All right, I'll take it. All right, and the only reason I took this job was because one of my childhood friends, whose father was my coach, reached out to me. He was coaching at some D1 college, and they just kept giving him odd jobs and no type of step up. He was like, he came home and was like, man, I got to do something. And, this opportunity opened up. And he was like, perfect. I'm going to run with it. And he was like, I need a linebacker coach. I need somebody to help me with defense, and he immediately thought of me. I was the first person he called. He called me. And I was like, hey, bro, I was thinking about like leaving to Arizona or Texas, and I was like, all right, you know what? I'll be here for the summer around my birthday. I'm down, bro. I'll ride with you. I hope you figure this out. And man, it's been eye opening. It's been eye opening. It's like, there's no money they can offer me. There's no, um, there's literally nothing those kids could give me but their time and attention and their respect. Right? So I try to pour everything I got into them. Right? I try to put them on a good program that'll help them succeed. I try to talk to them every now and then, just give them a few pointers. Most of the time, it's not involving anything that involves football. The only thing with football is like, hey, yo, be consistent and go all out. That's the only thing you can do, right? But usually a lot of times it's like coaching them off the field, right? Like mentally, like, hey, I know you're going through things, but I still need you to do your homework. After you get off work, I need you to do your homework. I need you to be accountable. I need you to be respectful, right? Um, but society is telling us kids to do the opposite, right? But it's not
Big
just the
time.
music or the culture, the full society of where we're at in America. Like, You know, half the world is like half of America is like it's okay to bomb kids. The other half is like it's not okay to bomb kids. You know, and I don't want to go into all the other political points, but you know, I don't want to step on anything because it's like a landmine, right? Like,
Exactly.
hey, you know, and it just to be honest with you, bro, not just you, but anybody who watches this, people really need to pick up books. People really need to pick up books and read avidly because 95% of the things that we've been told through our education in America is false. It's not, and it's not like, oh, okay, well, I can see how you got there. It's a lie. They're lying to keep people in the same loop. And I don't know, we didn't never had no kind of talk before we hopped on this, right? You know,
Yeah.
this is just like, hey, we're gonna talk about a few things, I want to ask you some questions, but I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Everything that we're looking at, 9 times out of 10 is a lie. You know, America was here long before it was America. A lot of these black folk who think they're black and they're, you know, descendants of slaves. Yeah, you might be a descendant of slaves, renamed slaves, right? It's just a title, just like a citizen's a title, you know. And I'm not gonna go into that any further than that right there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, people definitely need to pick up books, and people definitely need to study law because things are about to get out of hand if people don't really take control of their lives. And I'm seeing this not from the political standpoint that is worse than reality TV. I'm seeing this from looking at kids, right? Interacting with children who are in a state of panic, in a state of survival, and they don't know who's really trying to help them and who's trying to get over on them. And that's sad. That's
For
sad when you
sure.
can't recognize a helping hand, right? Um, and that's one thing that really, I want to say put fears in me, but it makes me worry, right? It makes me worry because I knew as a kid when someone was either on my team or they were against me. Whether they were kids wearing the opposite jersey or they're somebody else's parent, right? I just knew to avoid because I'm like, hey, me and their kid play the same position. I don't have no parents here to protect me. They're this kid is not as good as me, but his parents is always here. They're donating money. I gotta stay away from that kid, you know, mainly because his parents, right? And people have ulterior motives, and you know, the only motive I spread is peace and love, right? Like I want everybody to have peace in their life and experience love in their life, right? And from there, I think we'll have an overall better society. But everybody doesn't agree that way. You know, money's too green and it means too much to some people. And that's coming from a person that I was making 6 figures in a few months, you know, only to
Mhm.
realize that it didn't really mean too much. I was happier without it, right? All right, my bad.
Definitely.
Go ahead, bro.
No, no, you're good, man. You're good, man. No, no, it's great to hear these things because people do need to be educated, right? I mean, things are getting crazy. You know, we have a lot of evil in this world and things like that. I mean, I'm here in Renton, man. I don't know if you remember how far that is from Seattle, but
Yeah,
dude, there's something always happening every day. Like you're always hearing about it. And it's like,
yeah. They still a
man,
lot of cars up there in the Pacific Northwest.
yeah,
I
yeah.
got some friends who lost family members out there where I was there. Man, it's it's such a beautiful place too. Like, how are you
Oh,
so
it is.
aggressive with all these green trees and beautiful water? And it gets a little muggy, but the food is good. What are we mad about? You know, but
Yeah.
and I think that's what it all about. Like, people are confused on what they're mad about. You know, I had a it's completely off subject, but I had a Native American approach me when I was at Washington, and younger guy, probably
Mm.
like mid 20s. And I was maybe like 21, 22. And I'm walking down I forgot what the name of our street is, but it's like our main street out where at Washington where we like grab food. And this guy was just like swearing and cussing and flinching at everybody he walked by. And I'm looking at him from a distance. Like I'm standing in front of a bank waiting for some teammates to grab some lunch, and I'm watching him. It's like 20 feet away from me. I'm just watching him. And I could see him and I could tell by the way he's walking, like, yo, he's inebriated, he's pissed off. I can't tell you why, you know, but everybody else was paying him no mind, as they were supposed to, right? You don't want to lock eyes with somebody who's aggressive, but I guess he felt me looking at him. So when he looked up, he seen me, and I'm looking at him. I'm like, he's like, "What's up?" And I'm like looking around like, oh, he noticed me. I'm like, well, what's up, bro? You okay? And he just kind of like started cussing me out, dropped his stuff, started to flex like he wanted to fight me. And I'm just like, first, bro, you don't know me. I don't know you. Why would I fight you? For what reason? It's not going to benefit me to fight you. It's not going to benefit you to fight me. More importantly, what are you so mad about? Right? And I never talked to the guy because as he started to walk toward me, my teammates turned the corner and they ran up behind me like, what's going on? And I was just kind of explaining the situation. He just started walking away. Well, of course, he realized that, hey, I wasn't by myself. And it was, 2:30 in the afternoon with 70 people waiting for the bus, right? And they were just going to watch. But, I didn't want that person to, start hitting on any young girls walking by or anything, just start wailing on them.
Yeah.
So kind of walked on them a little bit. I wanted to offer to do like, hell, you want to grab some food? You want to sit down and talk? Like, just figure out why you're so pissed off. But, I really think it comes down to a culmination of like years and years and years of, being just mistreated and lied to and told that your issues and your problems are your problems and they don't matter to everybody. When really, if there's any group of people in our society having an issue, it is the issue of the society. It shouldn't just be placed on that one group, right? But you look at law, you look at the war on drugs, you look at COINTELPRO, you look at the destruction of multiple communities over and over and over by the government. You look at taxation. You look at all these different things, right? Even the question of reparations comes up, and you're like, in New York, immigrants are getting $1,400 from taxpayers' money, and they're
It's
flooding New York.
insane. It's insane. We've been seeing like
1,400
videos
per person, and they can spend on any food they want. Me personally, I don't need $1,400 for groceries every month, but I will get that $1,400 away and take $1,000 every month. So now that's 12,000 untaxed dollars. If they do it like that, that's my method. But I'm not a immigrant of America. My family's been here for generations. So just looking at how things work now, man, it's just it's eye opening to grow up as an adult and become self-educated and realize like, hey, we weren't taught anything to help ourselves. Everything is self-taught. That's why people have parents and communities to look out for them and to get them caught up on where reality's at. And I just want everybody to get caught up. I just want everybody to catch up to where
exactly.
most people are at, so we could just make it a little bit better, right? Let's get back focused on like selling out Washington games, right? Instead of figuring out which president is going to try to drop bombs on which side of some imaginary border line, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, life is beautiful, bro. Life is beautiful. So I just wake up every day and I'm just happy to be able to do the little bit I could do.
Without a doubt. And that's really what we should all be doing, is helping each other out. But there's just times where people are like, they'll think like, oh, I don't have any money to give somebody. It's not about that. It's about just being caring and helping people out. And I know that's something I need to be better at for sure myself,
Yeah, it's hard, man. It's, a lot of times it's like if you're struggling to take care of yourself and you're barely scraping by, it's hard to look over your left and right and take care of the person next to you. It's designed that way. It's literally designed that way. Some of our greatest inventors didn't create things that actually benefited society. Look in Oppenheimer. Like, they're like, hey, yeah, we want to create this energy. It turned to creating a bomb that was used to kill thousands in a matter of seconds. So it's like, we gotta look at things not for how we want them to be, but for literally how it is. And right now, if I'm looking at for how it is, we're not controlling anything as Americans. We're not in control of anything. to the point where they're gonna try to take our rights away, bro. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. It's facts. It's facts. A lot of people don't read. A lot of people don't look at, or search for. I don't want to pry too much, bro. We're still online, but
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
I like to read about the heavily um, criticized leaders of the past, just to see like what is truth and what is fiction. You know, and a lot of times, bro, it comes back as there's a lot of falseness in a little bit of everything, especially the textbooks that are given to us. So, you know, man, yeah,
Yeah, man. That's a conversation we can have all day, man. It's crazy.
yeah, yeah. We'll be here for hours, bro.
Yeah, for sure. Now I wanted to chat with you though, man, because I know your grandparents played a big part in your life, and that's my grandmother was so she's part of the reason why I started this show. I really wanted to just interview and talk with players such as yourself, past alumni, because she was a big Husky fan and
There you go.
just a huge part of my life. And just more like a hobby. I mean, aside from this, I do have like a podcast where I talk to celebrities as well. So, I mean, it's cool, but this one is more like important just because my grandmother was important. So, I understand how your grandparents took you in and things like that, because you went through some things with, as you were a kid, right? So I understand how important that is, and that really falls into that adversity we were talking about. Um, but like, how would you say that shaped you? Everything that you went through. Like, was that more of like? Do you think that prepared you for what you had to deal with when it came to the league, and with the whole COVID thing?
um, I think to say being prepared is to be like saying, "Hey, I'm ready to have a kid." Right? I've been through a lot of high stress situations. I've been in situations where I didn't do anything wrong, and I've been handcuffed, searched, and given a ticket for no reasons. You know, so nothing can prepare you for something that's happening, and the collective is against it. Um, to be there and be singled out by a coach, as you're stopping the fight, like, hey, this is your fault because you know you're creating division because you just don't bend over and pause, but you don't just give in when you find out that same coach also did not give in, but falsified documents. So it's oh man, um, my grandparents did what they had to do, um, and they raised young men, and they did not traumatize them more than they were already traumatized. Now, when it comes to preparing me for the outside world, my grandparents were retired when when I moved here. They had retired a few years previously, so they weren't in the working field. You know, my grandfather worked for DWP, retired for DWP after like 30 something, 40 years, something crazy, right? And I never considered myself to work a job for 30 years. I always considered myself retiring in my 30s. Being a full-time dad, helping my community, being a full-time leader or follower of my community, or just a helper, right? I don't think anything can prepare you for what you're going to go through in life except yourself. And whatever that you believe in, whether it's energy, whether it's supernatural, whether it's God, Allah, those are the people that you're going to have to turn to really be prepared. Because I'm looking at people I'm supposed to trust, and they're telling me to do something I do not believe in, and it's kind of like, well, I've always listened to people in positions of power. So now I'm disagreeing with somebody in a position of power. Am I wrong? You know, if my grandmother was to, yell at me for not taking my clothes out the washer and putting them in the dryer in a timely manner, is she wrong for yelling at me, or could she just talk to me? Like, these are the type of things that really start to take part. Like, she's not necessarily wrong. She said, put your stuff in the dryer. But at the same time, we could have just talked about it. It didn't have to become like a learning type of situation. Just a reminder would have been okay, right? But our society doesn't allow reminders, right? You get over, you're driving on the freeway and you get over without switching your blinker on. Hey, it's not a hey, you forgot to use your blinker. It's like, hey, we're gonna write you this ticket because you forgot something out of the 3 hours you've been driving, right? So I don't think they necessarily prepared me. I think they did the best job they could do, and that was, try to raise a free thinker. Try not to traumatize me. Try not to tell me no all the time. But I grew up in the city, bro. We definitely had to be protected in some sense. Like I said, like I got a ticket before and it was unjust. A lot of worse things have happened. The first time I came home from college, I got shot at by a kid I played football against. I've never been gang affiliated. I have friends who are gang affiliated, and a lot of them aren't here anymore because of that. But I was always a friend. I was like, hey, bro, why are you gang banging again? Like, can you explain to me your reasoning behind this? Because I'm just trying to make sense of it, because there's nobody I want to hurt because they live on the other side of the city. Most of my friends on the other side of the city, I love them to death. And they're not from the same culture. They're not from the same origin as I am from. But just knowing them and their family, I would never want anything to happen to them. I would never want anything to happen to my worst enemy ever. And I think that's kind of more like the mindset how I move. Everybody doesn't move that way. Everybody isn't a part of my tribe and where I'm from. And Seattle has really shown me that you know there will be people out there to support you more so than your closest family members, and they might not know you. They might know of you. They might see your character. They might have. I remember I was in New York for New Year's. I hopped on a train, sitting there with some friends, and one of the guys tapped me on my shoulder like, "Hey, bro, good job, Keishawn. Hey, you really made it, bro. Continue to take care of your family." Big fan, and just hopped off the train. It blew my mind. I was like, I just hopped on a train. It's my first time on a train in New York, and somebody recognized me.
New York, of all places, I mean, where it's jam-packed, right?
Come on, man. I mean, I'm like, how do you recognize me at 3 in the afternoon amongst all these people? And I got my
Yeah.
back to you, but it had no Washington gear on, nothing to show you like where I was from, and he recognized me. And not only that, but he actually said there's something that mattered. Like, hey, like I've kept up with you since you've been at Washington. You've been nothing but an outstanding person. As long as you keep your head out of the media for doing anything reckless, hey man, I'm always gonna be on your team. I'm always gonna be here to support you. I couldn't even tell you the guy's name or what he looked like. I know he had like a black trench coat, maybe gray, but it was a good dude. And I could tell that from how he approached me. Very respectful, very calm. He didn't ask for no autograph for his kid, which I'd have loved to sign for him, but it was just like people have to understand like there's other people going through things, and you kind of got to meet them halfway somewhere, right?
Definitely. Definitely. So I want to chat with you about some UW time, man, because that's,
There we go. That's what I was
man,
waiting
like
on.
that's nah, man. I wanted to give you a chance to talk and things like that, man. I just love having a good conversation and hearing, like how people think and how you think has been a lot different than what other people on my show have said. So no, it's wonderful. But in high school, man, real quick, you went to school with Uchenna Nwosu.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he went to USC. You went to UW. He's actually a Seahawk now. Do you guys still
Yep.
talk?
I try to. Man, me and Chinna, like, we've always been cool.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say we've always been the closest, and just time apart. You know what I'm saying? I ain't seen Chinna. Maybe I bumped into Chinna. Man, I think the last time I seen Chinna was like a year out of college. Like we live in the
Wow.
same. We live in our families from. I think his family's from Carson, which I'm from Carson. Um, I haven't seen him. I haven't caught up with him. That dude be working, man, full time.
Yeah.
So excuse me.
Yeah.
But I'm always, we Gaucho boys, man. I'm forever on that dude team. He called me today, like, hey, bro, I need you in Seattle. And hey, if I could clear my schedule, I'll be there. But that's just how we get down, bro. It's like, oh, you need my help for real? You need my assistance? All right, bet, I'll be there. But I bled with Chinna before. That's my brother. You can call me for whatever you need. If I can help you in any type of way, that's how we rock. But nah, man, I haven't got a chance to see him or catch up with him. No, but he killing it over in Seattle, man. I'm like, hey, man, who the linebacker coach over in Seattle, man? I need to work out for real because
Shoot.
your boy got it.
I
I
don't know
just
who it is. I don't know who it is, but I'll definitely look. And once I post this, I'm gonna see if I can find a way to tag him. And we're
yeah,
definitely gonna get
at
you.
that dude, man, at that dude. If he wanna, man, tell him just, hey, send the itinerary. I come out there with the cleats for a workout, and you'll see. You'll see. You know what
Bring
I'm
it back
saying,
home. Yeah.
bruh? What I really thought I was gonna be in Seattle, me or Azim. I'm like, come on, they gotta take one of us. Like, I'm like, I've been training with Bobby Wagner, KJ, Sherm in the building. Training with Shaq every day. They gonna want to keep one of
Yeah.
these linebackers in Seattle, but they wasn't rocking with us. They got Ben Burr. Is Ben Burr still over there? Ben Burr
Nah,
Kirby?
he's not, man. He's not. He's
How long?
not.
When's the last time he been on the active roster?
A couple years now.
Okay, okay.
I was rooting for him too, man, because I loved watching him play. All over the field and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. You guys were
Man,
crazy.
man, that's another
Uh,
good dude right there too, man.
for
Yep.
sure, for
I
sure.
gotta catch up with him,
I
but
I try to find a way to contact him myself, but a lot of you guys are kind of like, it's kind of hard to tell who's behind like what profiles, right? Like you never know
mm,
if someone's actually like trying to impersonate you.
yeah, my Twitter's hacked, bro. It's been hacked for a long time.
Yeah. But yeah, no, man, it's crazy. We'll definitely add the linebacker coach, or I'll find a way, man.
Yeah.
I love connecting people, and that's something I've also done with my other show is connected a musically talented guy that I know with I'm not sure if you've seen all that back in the day, but his name is
Mm-hmm.
Brian Christopher Hearn. He was in Hardball and Pootie Tang, and I connected them together. Now they make music together.
Wait. I know that Christopher Hearn. I know you talking
Yeah,
about. I know you talking about.
yeah.
He's actually he had a few hits. He been ghostwriting for somebody, right? Is that the same guy?
No,
Christopher
no, no. This Brian Christopher Hearn.
Christopher Hearn.
Yeah, yeah,
Man, I feel like that's that Christopher Hearn. My
yeah.
bad, man.
Brian.
I'm over here. Christopher
No, you're good, man. It's Brian Christopher Hearn. So it starts
Brian
with
Christopher.
yeah.
Is it BRY or I?
Bryan.
BRY.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I connected them. They started doing some music together. So yeah, man, I'm all about making the connections and just introducing people. That's kind of like my way of giving back how I can.
Man, that's great, bro.
Yeah,
That's. Oh yeah. Oh okay. I know exactly who
yeah,
this dude is. He wasn't hardball.
yep,
I wouldn't even recognize him now. Oh
yeah. He's
yeah.
got the facial hair now, man.
Yeah, he big bearded up. Man, he
Yeah,
look like he be my cousin or something.
he's in Washington State actually.
Oh, for real? Man, that's a
Yeah,
lot of people in
yeah, yeah.
Seattle, man. I want
Yeah,
to come back.
nowadays, yeah. So yeah, man, everybody has like a different story, right? Obviously, you've shared a lot of yours, but during the recruiting process in high school, like I think Oregon State was like your top school, right? Like that you were really looking at. But what made you take UW of all the schools? I mean,
Ah,
you even
man.
had Oregon.
To make it simple, bro, Troy Williams was committed to UW in the 10th grade, and Troy lives 4 blocks away from me. Our family's generational. Our grandparents grew up together and were friends. So
Okay.
that's like my brother. At the end of the day, that's my brother. So he was committed there in 10th grade. In the 10th grade, I was actually at the rival school next door at Carson High. But I was at Narbonne the summer leading into ninth grade. So I was with Troy, and then I left to go play with my brother for 2 years, and then I came back at the end of 10th grade after we lost city championship versus DeAnthony Thomas and Crenshaw.
Man.
We ended up knocking Troy and Narbonne out of the playoffs. So then in the next year, I ended up transferring over to Narbonne because some legal stuff had came up at Carson, and it was a bad situation for me. I ended up being voted the captain of the team in the 10th grade season, right? As my brother was a senior, and he had um, basically graduated out of high school, but it was just a lot of, we call it city issues, right? Like we had a coach there who had put in the newspaper on signing day that my brother had signed to a college when he didn't. You know, man, it was, we had the coach couldn't even get seniors film. We had two all city 2-time running backs. We had, our team was full of veterans. Like we probably had like 36 vets on the team. So like, we were loaded. If we had the right coaching staff, we could have won city and beat the Anthony Thomas and those guys. But we had a poor, just, I wouldn't say it started with the coach, the head coach, but after that, I think it really started with the academic director, the AD. You know, I just don't understand how certain people get in positions of powers and they could dictate people's lives. And those two people, for sure, they should never be in those positions of power. Like you'll talk to some players and they'll tell you like some coaches should never coach, right? Or some people are just not good at coaching. And they were the type of people who just weren't good leaders. They weren't good coaches. They were liars, manipulators. And those are the type of people that, athletes want to weed out of the game, right? A lot of athletes, like me personally, I would rather do other things than be a coach, right? I would rather, go, you know, politic for my people outside of the country, right? So, my distant cousins in Africa can have some type of peace in their lifetime than being conquered over and over for minerals, right? Or Haiti being sanctioned by France and everybody else for just wanting freedom and individuality. It's all about control, and I'm more so into putting the control back into people's hands so they can have control over their own lives. I think that's what it means to be American and have an American dream. You're in control of how much money you make because there's opportunity out there, right? Just like there still is opportunity there here. It's just the opportunity plus the demand plus just the political status is makes it a rough place to grow up in. Um, and I think everybody's kind of experiencing the same thing right now. Uh, but it's all about perspective, right? If your family is, every year they're still hitting a million plus, you might not see the same issues as someone who is living on EBT and has to survive making 1,300 a month plus the EBT, right? Like it's different, and they have a kid or two. Like it's not feasible. It's not possible. Um, you know, but there's nobody fighting for that person, and it's a big percentage of that person. Like there's a big percentage of people in that same position, but just like the cost of living in Seattle, it's
It's
ridiculous.
high. It's
It's
high.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's like, you know, y'all gonna have to, reclassify yourselves as illegal immigrants just to afford to feed yourselves and still work that same job that's still giving you 5,000 a month, but your rent's coming out as 4,500. It's like, how is this possible? But that millionaire doesn't see that issue. You know, that person who started a business and worked for themselves, they don't see that same issue as, you know, the regular Joe. And it's so many regular Joes now that, you know, when people start to see crime rise and everything else, they say, "Oh, it's the community. It's the community." Well, last time I checked, if you're starving and you want to eat, and there's a place where you can get food, shouldn't you just go eat? Right? Like, if you're starving and you need food and there's no shelter near you, but there's a place with food, are you supposed to just starve and die, or should you just go eat? You know, and I'm not asking for the political or societal term. It's just like, yo, there's a being that needs food to feed their body. There's food available. What's more important, the money or the food? Right? You know, and when we start talking about these type of subjects, we go back into the Federal Reserve and when that was created and how that was illegal, but it's still illegal now. And now we're talking about municipal, judicial powers at hand and how we don't run on common law. It's maritime law, and there's multiple different court systems. You know, how getting a ticket is illegal, how taxation is illegal. You know, there's so many different things we could talk about. Literally, like I'm saying, like at
Yeah.
the beginning when we started, I said people need to pick up books. People need to stop wasting their time and sending their kids to public school. If you could teach your kids yourself, teach them. Find the right
Teach them the
YouTube
right or
channel.
wrongs.
Find the right YouTube channel and make your kids watch it. Because if they continue along the same route, if they continue to believe that the system is doing the best it can for themselves, your kids will be in a far worse position than you will. I remember I talk to my grandmother all the time about this. This not this house, but the house down the street. She owned 4 houses on this block, but there's
Oh
a house
man.
down the street. She bought first house she bought 34,000. That house right now is $650,000,
Wow.
and it's all inflation. It's inflation of fictitious money. There, our dollar isn't backed by anything but promises. I mean, if you give me $100 now, and in 10 years I give you $100 back, I'm going to still owe you about another $400, $500 on top of that, just because of inflation, and it doesn't make any sense, you know. And it's a failing system, but they're trying to save it. And you know, I'm just one of those guys who have a little too much free time on my hands to read and pay attention, you know, and I'm not scared. I'm not in fear of anything. I don't fear God, you know, because God lives within inside everybody who draws breath. That's what spirit is. So if you're connected to spirit, you're connected to God. And a lot of people don't believe in it. You don't have to believe in it. It's a fact. Did you wake up today? Yes. Are you breathing? Yes. Is your heart beating? Yes. You're connected to God. I'm sorry. God's not. He's happy to be connected to you, right? You know, because we're all here for a reason. And yeah, man, I'm sorry, man, not to go
Oh
off
no,
on
you're
something
good,
like
man.
this again, bro. It's just like there's certain things that are very important to me, and people are one. People are one. More so, I might not reach the group that me and you should be reaching. You know, everybody. I want everybody in the world to hear this, but I'm reaching the people who are on the same wavelength as me and you, right? Who lead with their heart. You know, who are opening up their chakras and aligning themselves. Um, because there's a lot of people who are very well off and they just do not care. They'll watch it all burn and, you know, sit in their penthouse, right? And I won't be in a penthouse. I'll be out here putting out fires. So, yeah, there we go.
No, without a doubt, man. Without a
Yeah.
doubt. So when it came to stepping foot over at Montlake, what was that transition like for you coming from obviously California and the things that you were a part of? And this is kind of like a two-part question
Yeah.
because I have
Yeah.
another one to follow up.
Well, let me go ahead and finish you asked me, the first question you asked about
Yeah.
Washington was, how did I get there? Troy Williams was committed there in the 10th grade. I ended up going to school with Troy in the 10th grade. We ended up going back-to-back city championships, 11th and 12th. And from there, Washington was pulling up to all our games all the time. And my defensive coordinator and linebacker coach kept saying, yo, look at this guy, look at this guy, look at this guy. I started to rack up offers my 10th grade year. Um, Oregon State reached out to me. There was my first offer. They were showing mad love. I went on 2 trips there, one unofficial, one official. They beat Wisconsin or Nebraska. I'm not sure. One of those teams when I went there, it was live. And I was like, yo, I'm for sure coming to this cold farmland of a college, right? Like, I knew I was going there, mainly because they showed me love. Like, they knew who I was. They respected me. They did what they could without breaking the rules. And, genuinely, I really think they cared, well, the coach that was recruiting me, Riley, I think he left right when I got there, or right when he left, like Sark left. Like, it was a year and he was out. He was like, made all these promises to all these kids, but it didn't matter, you know. But what really got me was Troy was there. Sean Parker was there. He was also a Narbonne guy. There was another guy that went there that went to school with one of my other brothers. There was actually one of my other close friends who was a dog, Corey Waller, who was a defensive end over at Washington. He ended up passing away not too long ago. That was one of my childhood friends. Um, man, besides the culture of the team, Seattle, like I pulled up on a cloudy day with just enough sunshine when we pulled up to the restaurant for the heat to hit me. And man, we ate sushi out in the docks at Joey's, man. Like, it was nice. That Joey's no longer there. I don't think it is, but it was nice. And then Sark was like, yo, come outside with me after I ordered my food. I was the only official I took by myself. My mom went on me all my other trips. And he was like, yo, you want to be a dog? And I'm like looking up at the sun. My dad actually used to live in Seattle. A lot of his friends were in Seattle. My uncles did a lot of business because they're in the fishing business. They did a lot of business up in Seattle. So I was like, yeah, Oregon State ain't like this, bro. Like, you ain't even got to worry about it. Like, I'm coming here. Like, you got me. And the craziest part about that, when I committed right there on the spot, like, yo, I'm not committing, but I'm signing here. Like, I'm coming here. He's like, all right, done. The guy that was on the trip with me, and I was hanging out with him and his mom, and we were talking the entire trip, was Coleman Shelton. And
Really?
I ended up taking Coleman Shelton's scholarship.
Dang. That's
So
wild.
he had the gray shirt. Go to like a JC or something like that and just do school. And then he followed us up there. But, Coleman Shelton is active right now. He's still in the league. Like, and we were the last 2 guys that got on that roster in that class. Like, it's incredible. Like, you couldn't write it any better than that,
Yeah, that's insane. That's
Yep.
crazy.
Yep.
So would you say that transition was a little bit smoother for you then? Like, you already felt like you were at, right where you needed to be when stepping on the campus for the first time?
Oh, man, no. I was lost. Man, that
It's
was the first
huge,
time
man. It's a
man,
big campus.
I've never spent that much time away from my family. Um, Granted, I went up there. I spent time with Azim before we got there. Troy was already there. Shaq was there. Shaq, man, the first time I met Shaq, man, we wasn't even working out the team. We weren't around no vets. Shaq pulled up, called Troy, was like, yo, y'all come downstairs. Me, Troy, and somebody else went downstairs, and we just drove around Seattle. He was showing us all the spots and was like, yeah, it's my favorite food spot. Got us, got some Gatorades, just chilling. He was just like, just listening to music. He was asking us questions, getting to know us, and he was like, yo, like, we got something here at Washington, bro. I hope you guys buying in. And I'm like, I don't know nothing about this dude besides, he's from Cali and he got drafted to play baseball. And I'm like, bro, you a dual sport athlete? Like, why don't you stick to baseball? And, everybody cracking jokes. He couldn't hit nothing. But I'm like, bro, I'd have figured it out. I'd have just start taking him on my shoulder or something, like pause, like, I'd have start digging in, like, hey, you hit me with a fastball, I got first base, now I'm trying to steal bases. But nah, man, it was hard, bro. It was hard being away from my family in such a critical time of my life. Like, my mother had just came back into my life consistently, she was battling her own issues. My one of my older brother had just shipped out to college. He had to go JC life because he had that issue with that coach and coming out of high school. My younger brother was watching me go throughout the entire recruiting process and wants to go to Washington. Um, and he's my size at safety, right? He went to San Jose State. Dude was a baller. Honestly, I probably think he's probably the best football player out of me and my brothers. Granted, one of my brothers is 6'6" and probably faster than me, but um, my younger brother is really nice. So, I don't want to say the transition was easy, but I'm watching my brothers. I'm learning from the people in front of me. Like I'm seeing my brother go through all his different phases and trials and tribulations to me trying to follow up and try to do just a little bit better, because I'm seeing the mistakes that people are making with it. I'm seeing the decisions that he's making. I'm like, I'm just trying to learn from him. So it was really just every day was a learning lesson. Like waking up at 5 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning to go do 5 a.m. workouts was rough,
Okay.
bro. I think we used to hit the sheets by like 5:30 in the afternoon. Like we're done, right? And that's 12 hours. It's a 12-hour day. It's a 12-hour day right there. Just to do it all over again. Don't forget you got to write a few essays before you go to sleep. We didn't have ChatGPT and AI and all these different tools. Like we had to use our hands and our brains and really make it make sense. And you know, I don't really think any part of that process was easy, honestly. I think just to make it through all the things that we made it through, being a full-time student athlete, we should have got paid.
Without a
Absolutely.
doubt. And it's happening now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's happening now, unfortunately. I mean, hearing that, yeah, you definitely you guys should have gotten paid, right? I mean,
I
without a
mean, hey,
doubt.
we took when they built that new stadium, the
Uh-huh.
university was like a few million in debt. Not a few, but
But
a few. A few.
you guys got them out of that, huh?
Bro, we got them out of debt in 1 year. Into the positive because we kept winning. We selling out games. I think they're like over 100 million in debt for the stadium. Close to
It's
that.
crazy.
They don't really want to tell me
Crazy.
the numbers because I tried to do an internship and they didn't want to tell me the numbers. They were very unfriendly when I tried to get in those rooms. But
Man.
uh, and if some UW alumni see this and they're like, "Yo, this guy is biased," well, I was there. I was there, and it might sound jaded because it's my perspective, but I'm just telling you the energy I was reading. I know when people are very welcome, and I know when people don't want me in the room. And a lot of those times, I was only allowed to be in the room because I did not just turn over. I decided to stand out, and I decided to speak out. You know, um, and we took that university out of debt by winning, and nobody seen a portion of that. You know, um, I'm not sad about it. You know, it's not money gone. Like, the generations now, I'm happy those kids have control over their lives. They're able to get paid and help their families out. You know, um, I definitely think it's good that they're doing it because before those kids get to the NFL and they're doing it for money every single day now, like you do get a little bit of the college experience. You're more so. It is what it is, bro. It's an institution. You know, it's supposed to institutionalize you, but now it's more of a corporation. So now you're more of an employee, right? Those kids just have to be focused when they step in that room. Um, and it's hard because they're young, full of testosterone. They just getting some money in their pocket. You know, it's and I'm happy I haven't seen. You know, I don't even want to put the energy out there, but I'm happy it's been positive. You know, along the way. A lot of kids, in the wrong position, it doesn't become positive, right? They hit a lot of bumps, and I'm just happy it's been positive as long as it's been so far. And I continue to harp on. I hope them kids stay in creative control of everything that they have going on. I hope that they understand that they are in control right now as a collective, and they need to maintain that. Um, I tried to preach that to the NFL guys before COVID hit. They didn't agree with me. They were like, "Hey, we vets, we been here for a long time. I want my money up front. The rest of you guys figure it out." It's that selfish mindset. We're a community, right? It's only a few people get to put that jersey on. Be a part of the community. Do what's best for the guy behind you, right? Some people gotta take that bullet on the chin. My class did. Everybody before me did. When I first got to Washington, they couldn't give us food. We had bagels, no toaster, jelly, and peanut butter, some cream cheese. You eat that, grab an orange and an apple before the workout. My senior year, it was unlimited food. It was unlimited food. You walk into the training room, the weight room, or whatever, you got all types of fruit. You got a freezer full of ices and ice creams and whatever you want. Snacks all around. The place is full of milk, and you can make any type of sandwich you want: ham, cheese, turkey, whatever, mayonnaise, sausage, ketchup, whatever you needed, bro. Like, it was there, it was provided, and our organization did a great job of, like, when these things got enacted, giving us the best they could at the time they could. I just hope them kids just stay in creative control and understand they have the power. They always had the power. The people have the power, right? Like, and by no means am I political, bro. I'm a representative of my people. And, a lot of my people don't have a voice. People don't care what they talk about. So anytime I'm in a position to, to speak the whole part of it, I have to, it's part of, like, my contract with God,
There you go. Yeah, no, I mean, without a doubt, man. I mean, you're well educated. You know what you're talking about, right? So yeah, man, kind of keeping up with the UW thing, stepping into that locker room. So it's kind of like the part 2 question. There was so much talented individuals, and I don't know if they even knew that yet, right? I mean, you had guys like John Ross.
Oh, no, we knew. We
You
knew.
guys knew? You guys knew? Okay.
we Man, that was the greatest collective of uh, personalities I've ever been around. Like, from John to Vita to Azim to Troy to Coleman,
Sankey.
Sankey, Keishawn Williams, Shaq Thompson. Who did I come in under? Man, it's so many guys, bro. I could name.
Yeah.
William Schamberger, like, uh, who else is there? Um, Corey Littleton, Travis Feeney, Kevin King, Sidney Jones, Buda Baker, Taylor Rapp.
Yeah.
Like, I was on the team with the first Asian NFL player.
That's insane. That's
an actual skilled position, not a kicker or a long snapper or a punter, none of that. This guy's a safety, a dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Taylor Rapp, bro, he's a very intelligent person, right? He's and not just in the means of, like, he knows how to talk, but the way he eats, it's unconventional, right? He's challenging the food industry, right? Like, Kevin King is probably one of the best guys I've seen draw. I could draw. It's one of the only guys I know who's designing and drawing his own tattoos.
That's insane.
Man, who else is like that? I feel like there's got to be a rapper in the group somewhere. Buddha. People don't even know. I don't know when he gonna drop it, but Buddha out there
You should
rapping.
be ready for a rap
Buddha
album.
rapping. One of his best friends from Seattle performed in Seattle at a basketball game. It was I think it was Portland. He performed at Portland halftime show. Somebody's halftime show. That's one of Buddha's best friends. Buddha, I know for a fact, when his friends started rapping, helped him out tremendously. Like, you're talking about character. Like, these dudes treat people truly like family, right? Like, because when they come part of your community, bro, you really have to look out and take care of people. Some people fall off. Some people just make it off the rip. But, like, people who have kids know, like, every kid ain't gonna get that that they ain't gonna hit the ground running. They're not gonna go to Washington and after they redshirt year be starting. It doesn't happen for everybody that way. Like, look at Penix. That dude, how many colleges was he at? He was at Oklahoma or something like that. He went somewhere else.
Indiana, and then I think UW. I don't think he played anywhere else. He was with DeBoer at Indiana.
Okay. All right. So yeah, he followed his coach, but look at what he went through. That dude went through injuries, and I think he was the best quarterback in the Pac-12.
Probably in this draft.
You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. Yeah. In the draft. Like, the dude is a baller, and just to keep it a stack, Troy Williams was the same way. Troy Williams is the number one quarterback coming out of California. Number one overall. Like, it wasn't no competition nowhere out there. And just looking at, his career at Washington is really about who rocks with you, bro. Who treats you like family, who wants to see you win, right? Because you could be on a team with somebody, they don't really want to see you win over themselves. Are they really gonna put their best foot forward for you? So, when I was at Washington, I was around a bunch of selfless individuals. Like, they really cared more about the collective and what we were doing as a team than anything else. And that is what people will remember. The players will. I hope so. Because to me, it was beneficial, but that also didn't prepare me for the real world outside of that. Outside of that, bro, people don't know you or you're not famous to them in some way. They don't care about you. They don't care about what you done, where you did it at, who you did it with, right?
And I think Steve Smith played for USC, with the Giants. I think he was like after his career with them, he was bagging groceries, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like that guy gave so much to that organization, helped them win, Super Bowls. It's crazy.
Yep. And that goes into his community. Like, a person like that, bro, you have to have a solid community around you.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna make mistakes, right? And you just can't let the mistakes outweigh the good that you're doing, right? I hope it's, someone's looking out for them now, but you see it consistently. Athletes aren't taken care of mentally and physically, community wise too. I I'm starting to look at other communities, groups of people who have political power. And I'm looking at them like, what are they doing differently than what I'm doing with my friends in my community? Well, it all comes down to looking out for each other, investing in each other, trusting each other, letting others fail and still being there to support them, right? And that's what community is all about. Like, hey, you might not get it on the first try or the second, but you almost got it on the third. So this fourth time, hey, it's 100%, bro, and it's gonna pay off. And that's essentially like a quick summary of like how it was at Washington. We didn't get it the first year, the second year. We didn't beat Oregon the third year and break the streak. It took to that fourth year. And then that fifth year, we put the stamp on it again. Like, yeah, like we here to stay now, and it's always going to be like who's wanting to ride the wave, right? We got to create our own waves. Like, it's all about that energy. We had something building up since our freshman year. We had, you know, Coach Steve Sarkisian, he started it off. He got it popping for us. But, he put guys around us like, Torrey Beckton, who had our freshman class, and he just drilled it into us. Like, hey, y'all gonna hate each other because y'all gonna go through so much stuff together, but I'm gonna put you through more stuff now to the point where when y'all get to that adversity and things start to happen and all hell breaks loose, y'all calm. Almost like y'all cold-blooded. And y'all gonna be looking at each other smiling like we've been preparing for this since the beginning, and that is, that's the type of thing like, that really brought me to Washington and that kept me at Washington. And that keeps me a fan of Washington. Like, I don't even watch too much football because I'm diagnosing film. Like, my mind thinks like I can't watch a football game and be like, oh, they running this play. Oh, yeah, they run it. I know what I'm talking about. I don't really think I'm a fan of the game. I think I'm in love with the game, right? To the point where like I have a deep relationship with the game, right? When you break up with somebody that you've been with your entire life, you still have feelings for them. You might not, check their Instagram every day or call them every day or reach out to them every day, but your feet still warm, right? You can still feel them in the back of your mind. Like, you can remember what they say in certain situations, and that's kind of like how I approach it, right? Like, you know, Washington will for always forever be a part of my heart, man. I keep them close, man. I keep them close.
Yeah,
Right?
we talked about that before. It's like, man, you got the gear on. I just love seeing it, man, the purple and gold. But I don't know if that's just because that's what I was, raised knowing.
Nah, we not biased. Washington's like that, and they're going to be like that for a long time.
Oh, without a doubt. And honestly, man, you were talking about you guys really kind of set that standard. And as a Husky fan, before you showed up, and played at the school, at the university, man, I sat through a season with Tyrone Willingham, a coach that had no expression, 0-12, and watching that bad house. And then, when Coach Sark was here, you had to see what he was working on. And, then unfortunately he was gone. And then we got Coach P, and then, we got to see everything that you guys were working on. And then here we are, in 2016, the Huskies, you guys made it to the college football semifinals. And that's kind of what, like, I wanted to ask you about, like, what did it mean to you guys personally to be a part of that journey? Like, can you describe the emotions and thoughts you experienced, like, even knowing that you're going to be playing against a powerhouse in Alabama, with the team, like, with Jalen Hurts starting at quarterback as a freshman, Calvin Ridley, even Bo Scarborough?
They didn't get us on our best day. I'm going to just say that.
Man, y'all came out the gate, man. You guys came out the gate just firing.
If you rewatch the game, you're going to see that first series, Buddha drops a pick six. Like, it was certain plays. Like, even when we played Penn State my last year, certain plays come up where we definitely ran that play in practice 3 times. And we're like, yo, if they run this as a pick, yo, they lined up. Everybody, you're going to look on film. 3 people look at Buddha and point at him. Like, yo, the play's coming to you. He drops it. I'll fight Buddha right now because he know how much I care about that game. Because we jump out on Bama, right? We score first. Then we get a pick six. We 14-0. The game's different. Washington, we were built and always have. Even you look at it now, the style of how we play is we got to get up and stay up. Hard fought battles, big comebacks. It rarely happens, right? Penix did some stuff. There's been some QBs since then, right? Since we've been there who have done some things. But we are known for just, get on top, stay on top, and be stingy. Be stingy and be very aggressive. And, but that feeling, man, it's that type of feeling where you're like, hey, I have to be present. I can't get too far ahead of myself. I can't think about the past. I can't worry. I have to be present because every single step now matters, right? And I know that's like, what does being present mean? It's like it's a feeling of bliss. It's like that first time you get that pretty girl number you really, really like, and you floating. You're like, whoa, I don't really know how I'm supposed to feel right now. Yo, it's just you're just happy to be there. You're happy to be there with good people and experience it. And at the time, you don't know what's going to happen, right? You just like, hey, I know I prepared for this. I'm working hard for this. I'm focused. I'm taking care of the things I need to take care of. Hopefully they call a good game, right? Hopefully, our offense come out shooting, so the defense could go out there shooting and keep them stuff. But they made some great plays, bro. Like looking back, like I definitely wish I played better that game, right? There were some plays where I kind of got ahead of myself, and instead of blitzing, I dropped back thinking it was going to be a pick. I mean, not saying he made anything happen with it, but I would rather sack somebody on second down. So now it was 3rd and 15, and instead of them punting and backing our offense up, they're just small things, right? I start to think about. But there's no regrets. It was definitely something that happened in time, and we enjoy it. And we look back at the past, like, hey, I could have did some things better, but now I know. Now I know. You know what I'm saying? Now I know what I'm made of, right?
Without a doubt, man. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed watching that game. Like you said, the whole game could have went differently if you would have, picked that off. But the score was what, 24-7. I mean, it could have been a bigger score, honestly. But that's the dog that you guys had in you, the fight. And I mean, it really showed that UW could hang with.
It was 7-14 going into halftime, huh?
Yeah.
And they got a pick six, a go away pick six on a screen to LeVon Coleman, and a D tackle picked it off and run it. Like, come on, man. Like, why? Yeah. Or it's Bama. If we had their budget, if we had Bama's budget, Bama wouldn't exist.
True. Nah, man,
Somebody wanted to bounce over.
I'm a big fan of our guys as they hit the NFL. That being you, even Jake Browning, man. My best friend, he tells me, man, Browning would never be a starter in the NFL. Look what that kid did, man, with the Bengals. He put him in the right system. The dude was eating. You know what I mean?
Preparation meets opportunity, man. It's one of LA's greatest. That's one of his quotes, Nipsey Hussle. Preparation meets opportunity, bro. You got to be ready for it. Browning, man, he's consistent, bro. He's consistent. He's dialed in. It was only a matter of time before he got a shot, right?
Yeah.
I think it was the first game. He did good. The second game, I think he lost, but I don't really keep up with the games too much. Like, my life is I'm all over the place, but he's consistent, bro. He's consistent. He's a dog. I'm gonna be honest with you. There's a bunch of guys that was on that team that could still play and be in the league right now. But it's a what have you done for us lately league, and it's a not for long league, and only the select can go. That's fine. That's fine. The best of us, I hope they hurry up and retire and get started, because the world needs influential, solid men to help guide this thing and where we're trying to go, right? Too many of our most important, influential men are stuck in sports, entertainment. I mean, we need more leaders outside of sports, bro. Sports is sports. It's always gonna be sports. It's just sports, just a game. It influences so many people. So many people care about it. Why? I always ask myself that. I've never been a fan of anybody except like certain people like Troy Polamalu, because he just played the game his way. Ray Lewis, because he just played with so much fire, and you get a few people here and there, but I'm more fans of my friends. Like I'm happy to see my friends. I'm cheering for my friends. But at the same time, I'm cheering for them even more when they get out of football and they're lost and they're like, I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do. Well, I saved some money. I can invest. I can do this. I can do that. I think I just want to rap and make music. Bro, do it. Do it. Rap about something important. Pour your heart out on beat, cry on beat. I don't care what you do, bro. Just whatever makes you happy and whatever is positive and pushes you forward and helps the community, bro, do it. I'm all for it, bro. Make a lot of money doing it. Make a lot of money doing it and give it to the community, right? You can't take it with you, right? So, and it might sound crazy to the person who's never experienced it, but like, bro, I was living with people who are well into 7 figures, almost 9. So it's like, and you start to see the way people move. Like, the more they have, it's like the less they become. It's like, bro, are you not human? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, like, what do you care about? Like, what's important to you? So yeah, when I say stuff like that, man, I just want my friends to become complete. Not just be known for being an athlete or being, at Washington, but I want them to be known for being them authentically, from their mother, from their father, from the community, them wholly. And, I want them to be more in tune with themselves and like the world, bro. I mean, we're all energy. You know what I'm saying? I want these dudes to shine bright because it's going to amplify me, right? Just how they push to each other on the weight room, outside in the weight room, spring, summer, whatever workouts, we're pushing each other. I want them to push me at life. I want to push them at life. Like, yo, let me challenge you to what's important. You know what I'm saying? You got kids? Are you focused on their future? Oh, you send them to the right private school, huh? Okay. Are you involved with politics in your neighborhood? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to push them to the point of things that they're not asking themselves these questions. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of their circles aren't asking them.
Now we're just like too focused, man. Just focus on living and trying to do it right, and think what we're doing is the right way. It's just not,
It's just a way,
Exactly. It's what we were taught, right?
Yep.
Yeah, man. So I definitely, man, we've been chatting for almost an hour and a half. I told you I wanted you to enjoy your night. I want to just wrap it up with a couple more questions here, and it's really just going to be what are some like advice that you have for any future Huskies, whether that be students or student athletes. And I know I have some younger guys that are getting ready to they're getting ready to step in their freshman year of school, or even during the recruiting process. What are some things that you would do on campus that you would get to enjoy, like the
Ooh.
hub, or
Oh man, I
Red
don't miss the food
Square?
at the hub, bro. I don't miss the food at all. The best thing I used to eat there was Subway, and
Yeah,
I don't even eat that no more. I cook so much now. Man, I would say get more involved in the student spirit. Um, Run events for communities, run events for anything involving students and other people and like-minded individuals. Do it, push it, do it. Create content, film everything, monetize everything. Be in creative control of everything that you put out. Be in control. Be in control of everything that you put out. Too many people write the narrative and they're not suited for it, right? But because they chose to write the narrative for somebody else, they can do it, and they're allowed to do it because nobody else has took that role. So I would say be in control of your narrative and your story and your time, right? Get more involved in the communities, because when it's all said and done, the people that you infected and the people that you affected by spending time with and investing in, they're always going to be there for you. That's your tribe. You just built them, right? Those are people that are going to be looking out for you. Those are people going to be checking on you. Those are people going to keep you grounded. Study your astrological chart. If you're a Cancer, study your sun, your moon, your rising, your 12th house, whatever. All these different things play big parts in who we are, right? Um, Not only that, but the education that you get at a major university is not always going to prepare you for life, right? So seek mentors in whatever interests you, right? Like I decided to take a mentorship with the athletic director at Washington. I probably met that guy one time the entire summer, and I was the starting linebacker and captain of the University of Washington. And we never talked. I didn't learn not one thing from that man, and it was scripted that way. Why would I, an inner city kid from the community, be spending time with a man who is doing $1 million deals, right? And I've had somebody from the building ask me, "Why do you want to do this?" And I told them, and they're like, "Well, that doesn't fit the narrative." I'm like, "Whose narrative are we writing? Mine's or yours?" It's that type of thing, bro. That type of thing. I just want kids to be aware that, um, and honestly, I really want them to understand that outside of sports, outside of that little world that we're in as athletes, these people out here, how to do it? This people out here in this world out here, these people aren't playing fair. They're playing hardball with y'all, and y'all too young, and your parents are too protective of you. So understand that you're on your own. You've been on your own for a long time. It's just there's enough people around you where you don't feel the world kind of beaming down on yourselves. So you know, take value in the relationships that you build at Washington and maximize it. That's really the only thing I'm saying. Value it, maximize it, and never settle. Always push each other and yourselves to be better, smarter, and more involved. It's a long answer.
No, man, it's a great answer, honestly. And I wish I had that knowledge. I mean, I'm 33, man, so I'm a couple years older than you, but
Yep.
I wish I knew a lot of things that I know now back when. So,
Yep.
my last question to you is who's Keishawn Bierria?
I thought about getting real philosophical on you right there. Um, Keishawn Bierria is. I'm the people who know me know I'm known for being deep. Right. Even when I was at Washington, bro, I used to have these speeches before the game, and I used to turn everybody up. And at the end of it, I used to always ask them, "Was that good?" And they're like, "Bro, that was the best speech I ever heard." I'm like, I used to think like, are they lying to me? Like, but I guess they gave me most inspirational 2 years in a row for a reason. Like, I didn't really think too much about the award. I kind of just thought they was giving it to me because I was like a inner city kid who had a lot of issues growing up and somehow made it all the way here. But um, I think that's what I want to leave. Like, I'm just like you. Been through probably a little more, a little less in some areas, but I'm just like you. You know, we all bleed the same. Some of us, but we all bleed the same, and you know, um, I'm a person that realized what's important, um, and that's family, friends, and my spirit, my connection to God. Um, and I came in this world naked, and I'm gonna leave this world naked. And we here for a good time, not a long time. But while we're here, we should definitely make it a better place. And my goal, and if I could leave y'all with one thing, never judge a man by how low he falls, but how high he bounces once he has hit the bottom. And yeah, that's Keishawn right there.
There you go, man. No, I appreciate it. And I've learned
Appreciate
a
you.
lot from you today as well, man. So yeah, man. No, I definitely appreciate you taking an hour and a half. I told you 30 minutes, man, but we
I
ran with
got, I
it. We
got
had a
carried
great
away, bro.
conversation.
I'm gonna get
No,
carried
man.
away,
Hey,
pal. Yeah.
hey, man, I'm not even mad.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be respectable of your schedule, your time, your evening, and things like that. But
I owed you one, bro. I missed the last one, so it's all good.
hey, and that's one thing I explained to you as well, man, is I'm an understanding person. And these episodes will happen when they happen, if they happen. If not, I mean, I've had people just ghost me, man. So, for you to say, hey, man, I'm sorry, this is what's going on. I mean, I appreciate that. But yeah, man, no, I appreciate you being on. You're more than welcome to come on anytime you want to chat. I mean, you got my Facebook, so you could chat me up anytime you want as well.
Well, we gonna
Hopefully, I'll catch you in Seattle.
Oh yeah, man. I'll definitely come up. And we let's say we could start a little series, honestly, because there's a few topics that I touched on a little bit, but now that I'm so
Okay,
studied up on them, honestly, bro, I think like your ratings will go through the roof because there's some things I can't talk on about just on my platform. But if we spread it out to multiple platforms, I think will be not only beneficial for a lot of people, but it'll be really eye-opening to the people who don't really pay attention to things.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, man, yeah, shoot me those ideas. I'm always down to start new shows. I mean, like if I have a weekly show that's like consistent, things like that. I mean, I have this one to do sports. I have my celebrity one to talk to, people that are in movies, video
We could
games,
talk
whatever
about
it may be.
celebrities.
Hey, man, I'm cool with that too.
Yeah,
Maybe we could
for
get
sure.
some on and chat with them.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
But yeah, man, feel free to stay in touch. And I definitely enjoyed, the wisdom and things like that. And I'm sure everybody else will as well.
Much love, bro. Appreciate you.
Yes.
I just wanted to take a moment and thank the podcast sponsor, StreamYard. Without StreamYard, none of this would be possible. I also want to thank everybody for tuning in and watching this episode, whether you're streaming it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, or watching on YouTube. Thank you so much, and stay tuned for many more episodes.